This is my hometown. It's called Youngstown, and it's in the state of Ohio near the Pennsylvania boundary. In Youngstown, we make steel. We make steel and talk steel. Look down any street in town, and you'll see the mills at the end of it. There are 25 miles of them along the Mahoning River, and today they're busy day and night. Every 8 hours, the shifts change. 15,000 men to the shift. Steel. Only a few hours ago, it was iron ore. Now it's finished and on its way.
Dude, why does this dude act like the cities are gonna be the same way they were in 1910? Like, bro.
That's Youngstown, Ohio, one of our former great cities.
Oh, here he goes. One of our former great cities.
Until the blacks moved in it. That's exactly what Bro said.
You've heard this story before. You know, former steel town goes kaput, but you haven't heard it quite like the way we're going to talk about it here. It's insightful, eye-opening. It might make you feel betrayed by our government. This is what much of Youngstown looks like today. This is the north end of town, which used to be a bustling neighborhood on the fringes of cornfields.
All I see is trees. Trees and land. Ghettos of Youngstown. Bro, all I see is trees and land.
It's an open land. Now, today, it is open land and is on the fringe
He just said it right there. It's just open land.
of society. Yes, much of this area was once filled with homes, where kids played in the street, where family barbecues were held, where church bells rang out on Sunday. But those times passed a long time ago. A lot of people left Youngstown ages ago, offered better opportunities and safer cities to raise their kids. And the reason for that is our own damn fault. And this is something that we're headed for a lot more today, unfortunately. Now, if you know Ohio, you know that if this was winter, this place would be all gray and brown and look very postmodern. It would look far worse than it does here. On this day, it's nice and sunny, so Youngstown looks about as spruced up as you'd ever see it, like when Grandma puts on her best face for church.
What the fuck are you yapping about?
Youngstown is one of many former steel towns in the Rust Belt that have lost their way. Back in the 50s and 60s, this was a bustling community where steel mills ran at all hours of the day, where people could make a good life. But then in the 70s, steel mills began to shut down.
Uh-oh. And then in the 80s, the black community moved in.
Let's hear it.
Resulting in a catastrophic loss of jobs. The big blow came on what locals
Uh-oh.
Black Monday.
Oh, what?
Joe, it's gotta be
1977,
motivated at this
Youngstown
point.
Sheet and Tube shut down, immediately putting 5,000 people out of work. The ripple effect was severe, and by 1983, Youngstown had lost 40,000 manufacturing jobs.
It's
Since
gotta be.
1959, Youngstown has lost 60% of its population. At one point, there were 160,000 people here. Today, there's less than 65,000.
Damn.
All the new vacant buildings brought blight and depressed property values, but for years, officials hoped the problem would just go away. They tried to bring in new jobs, like a big blimp plant and car manufacturing plants. None materialized, repelled in part by corruption. In its heyday in the 1930s, Youngstown called itself the City of Homes, a place where a working-class man could be the master of his own castle.
I don't like the way he said that.
In those years, people dealt with the vacant houses by burning them down. But you can't do that forever. So a new plan was unveiled that would demolish the abandoned structures here. So far, Youngstown has raised more than 2,000 vacant homes, but more than 5,000 vacant structures remain. Can you imagine that? 5,000?
So far, I see no ghetto and just straight broken down homes and land.
Empty buildings in a small town like this. Today, Youngstown's vacancy rate is 10 times above the national average. Homes here average about 38,000 apiece, which is just about as low as you'll find in America today. A lot of the vacant structures here are owned by out-of-state folks, or even international investors like those in China.
Moving away for you now outside.
Oh,
All right,
Lord.
let's go.
A lot of this schools here are broken. They're just bad.
I can tell. Motherfucker didn't even learn English. Now I know why Austin can't spell.
Jobs are hard to come by, but you knew that already. Youngstown's been called the
Yeah,
poorest place
I
in the
agree.
country for revenue from about 65,000 people. The average home here brings in about 25,000 a year, and 4 in 10 people live at or below the poverty line. 6 in 10 kids here live in poverty. The healthcare system's terrible, and drug use is rampant.
Yep, I guess
Man,
why
there are
we know
just
why
homes
Austin sells every match.
on every block that are just missing, that are run down, that are abandoned. It's really sad here. So how did this place get like this? Well, you could say this was Youngstown's fault, since they failed to diversify their economy, putting themselves at risk for a shift in industry trends. And that's what happened. The decline of most of the manufacturing jobs was due primarily to technological advances and industry trends. Even if they brought steel back, because production technologies change, they wouldn't need nearly as many people. But Youngstown does serve as a warning to today's communities that rely heavily on manufacturing and energy and all the jobs that have been eliminated or moved overseas. When you allow jobs to leave the country for good, you're going to see this as a result. While Joe Biden says he's against encouraging corporations to move their operations overseas, his actions say differently.
Oh God, here we fucking go.
Plans to raise corporate taxes to pay for poor people to collect more unemployment and hand out more stimulus money and create what many Americans fear is an emerging form of communism. Is this
Oh
what
God. Just shut the fuck up,
Joe
dude.
Biden wants? Places
All right, cool. I don't want to hear your
big parts of
stupid
your economy will
MAGA
go to
bullshit.
shit. There's all sorts of comments from people who feel the same way. Folks like you that have been commenting on many other videos I've done, and they share the same concerns. So yeah, Youngstown, the reason I wanted to go there was because it's been called the poorest place in the country many times. It's clearly run down. I mean, there's parts of town I think it was the north end that are like raised, like where they just couldn't do it. I mean, it's pretty rough. I mean, I didn't really feel dangerous when I was there, but I felt,
There you go.
That's the
didn't-
ghettos of Youngstown.
clearly there's abandonment and poverty all over. What happened to Youngstown? Why is it like that?
So in the 70s, I think, they call it like Black Tuesday, where Youngstown Sheet Tube closed, and a bunch of jobs left in the steel mill industry. And then the city kind of just has been declining since then. And like recently, a major employer, General Motors, kind of left the area, so there's just really not too many jobs there. And like I was saying, from my personal experience, like I graduated college with an accounting degree, figuring, hey, it's going to be easy to find a job, and it's that's not really the case. You're like kind of competing against a lot of people for the little bit of jobs there,
And that's why
if
Austin
you
don't
look
have
at
a
the tax,
job.
like the local income tax rates in Ohio too, Youngstown's
Yeah,
like
tell
the
them to go to a
highest.
McDonald's, bro.
And I don't think they're spending that money efficiently either. Like the roads, I don't know where you
'Cause
go
I know-
around and stuff, but like
There's got to be some
roads
sort
are
of jobs because
terrible,
Austin's pretty much
infrastructure's
single-handedly
terrible,
feeding the economy.
That's for sure. Like the whole
All the
north
damn
end,
food
like,
he
coming
eats.
in off the main drag there were pockets on the north end of Youngstown where like houses had been leveled, like you see in Detroit and in other communities where
Right.
they were just abandoned so long that they became an eyesore and they were nuisance. I think Youngstown has leveled like several hundred structures, maybe
Yeah.
more.
Right.
So I saw that, and then there's pockets up there that are hanging on. It's weird to see like one house on a block, and then you've got no homes left that are all overgrown now at this point.
Yeah. One of my wife's cousins, grew up in Youngstown his whole life. He's his late 70s, kind of refused to move. And it ended up just being cheaper for him to buy like all the houses on his block to kind of make it a little bit safer of a place. He says people break into him all the time. A lot of the houses, he just kind of lets them go. He has no use for them or anything. Like pipes are gone, people catch them on fire. It's I mean it's a pretty rough area.
And then, on the southeast side where I saw, it was just
Feed your inner Sheets freak. Why the Sheets not?
just rundown homes, also abandonment. I mean, it's very clear that a lot of those people are poor. I guess, is it dangerous when you were there? Crime and drugs. How bad was it in Youngstown?
So, I've never felt like threatened or anything, but I mean, there are some, like I had some friends who lived on like off-campus housing, but kind of close to the university over there. And, you'd be hanging out 2 a.m. or something and you hear gunshots. I mean, that was pretty common. Yeah, I mean, I never would really say I've been in situations where I felt unsafe, but, I probably, driving around over there,
God, he has a Springfield, Ohio video. Can you imagine what he said in that one?
And did drugs take over like they did in places like Dayton and Chillicothe?
Yeah, I think there was a pretty big heroin epidemic.
There's
there.
heroin use? Youngstown, make grunge music. Come on, we need it.
They got everything else, bro.
They got the heroin. They got... Come on. Austin. Drop
Austin
the
needs to
album.
start a band.
A little bit. I've never really seen it too much. Occasionally on campus sometimes, when I went to college there, I'd see like syringes. There's like a Taco Bell, like where you find them quite a bit, and I've heard stories from other people where, they were in there and they saw some guy like overdose in the bathroom.
Yo.
What was that? Wait, what was that? Wait.
I've heard stories from other people where, they were in there and they saw some guy like overdose in the bathroom. But
What the fuck was that?
like I said, where I grew up, it was kind of like one of the wealthier suburbs. I mean, you really wouldn't see that anywhere near.
One of the
there.
wealthier
More or less
suburbs.
closer to the
Interesting.
cities, like where it was a problem.
What kind of reputation did Youngstown have growing up 30 miles away?
Not a good one. I talked to like my parents and stuff who grew up in the area, and they're like, it was, pretty wild. Like when we were kids, it was kind of like the China, manufacturing hub. You go towards the city, and your car's gonna get dirty from like the, soot released from the steel mills and stuff. And they're like, yeah, like in the 80s and stuff, it came pretty bad. A lot of crime and stuff. Idea, I guess.
Is there optimism that
Gary, Indiana, America's worst all-time ghetto. Oh no. I gotta hear this one. I know he's gonna say some shit.
Unfortunately, we live in one of the most richest countries in the world. Richest countries in the world. And we have people here who don't have sufficient food. We have people here struggling who was born and raised in America.
That's Michelle, U.S. veteran. Boy, is she a trip. I think I liked her more than any other person I ever interviewed.
I thought he was about to say more than any other person I interviewed in Gary, Indiana.
Love her. I had just pulled over in another demolished part of Gary to look at some abandoned school. I thought it might be a good shot to show some swing sets and basketball courts, all overgrown and neglected. And Michelle yelled out from her porch nearby, "Looks pretty bad, doesn't it? This city don't care. They don't care about nothing." So I went over and we talked for about 30 minutes. she had a lot to say.
They have sold the American people out. This ain't America. This is Scarica. But I'm not scared.
But man, this entire city looks like this. Just former this, former that. Who knows what has gone on in here
Uh-oh.
in the last 50 years.
Now that does look like a shithole.
America, right here. This is what we're starting to look like in a lot of places. There are thousands of abandoned buildings in Gary, Indiana. I think there's more abandoned here than occupied. But you knew that. Everybody.
But you knew that, right?
Bad Gary is. It's world famous. I'd been to Gary one time before, and since I was passing through on my way back to Michigan, I figured, I didn't really get a good look the first time around. And man, oh man, this might be the worst place I've ever seen.
No, that is terrible. My God.
I had just seen this in Rockford, Illinois the day before. The sad reality of America today. Rockford fell apart because of changes in technology. That's something that all U.S. cities are going to face in the near future. But Gary is on another level. If Rockford is what our future might be, Gary, Indiana is our past.
Damn, what's up with the central music? The former murder capital of the world. Oh, so you're not gonna go on a spill about... Wait, wasn't Youngstown the murder capital of the world?
Yeah, what happened, Austin? I don't think someone was telling the truth.
God, it's so sketchy out here. Okay, so I've seen a lot of crazy stuff in my day. I turned down a street out here, and there's probably 20 houses on this block.
It's okay, a tornado will put it out of its misery soon.
This entire block is gone. I've never seen anything like this before. It looks like it's been looted.
Imagine if Gary, Indiana just gets an F5. Yeah, that'll put it out of its misery.
Left for dead. This is a tragedy. This place is messed up.
I pay about $54 for full coverage. For a regular car, I mean, it's a Dodge Hellcat. How did you get it?
It was early in the morning on my left.
I'm just gonna say right now, I think Hellcats are one of the most overrated cars out there.
Yeah, I agree with that.
People just, oh, Hellcat, Hellcat, and I don't see the appeal. That was funny as shit. They playing John Cena in the club.
Some call it Scary Gary, but it was once named the Magic City. Gary, Indiana is almost completely abandoned, with over 13,000 buildings left to run.
Damn! Yeah, tornado needs to put it out of its misery.
1993, Gary was named murder capital of the U.S. with 3 times as many murders as Chicago.
Three times as many murders as Chicago.
Although it's one of the most dangerous cities, Gary was my favorite to explore, mostly because there's no one there to bother you. A few things I found in Gary, Indiana. A Lamborghini replica.
Former murder capital of the world. Yeah. Austin, looks like you were spilling all that stuff about Gary, Indiana. You were saying that about Youngstown, bro. Lily, to the exact T.
Dude, abandoned schools are crazy. Because they don't even touch them. Like, they just leave them. Like, there's literal classrooms that have desks that have been there for 50 years. They just leave them. Oh my god, I'm a pilot that makes flights out of a nearby town. And let me say, every night flight I took passing by Gary, I'd see police cruisers with their lights on.
Yeah.
The Jackson 5 is from Gary? Grew up in southern Indiana and was always told that you don't even stop at stop signs in Gary because someone will more than likely carjack you. That's crazy.
Only in Ohio.
This is Indiana. It's almost the same state, though. Gary, Indiana was also one of the vampire capitals.
Yo, did anybody tell these people vampires aren't real? You know what? Maybe I'm starting to see why they're like stupid, bro. They never taught these people that vampires aren't real. And then they go out trying to kill each other, yeah? No wonder, like, damn. Stupid ass people.
Somebody needs to make a horror movie in Gary. That would be crazy.
Don't worry. Don't worry, you're all pretty face.
I love Gary. I drive through there all the time. Yeah, great. It must be Austin's burner account.
Got him.
That's crazy. You can go through all these abandoned houses, but you can literally go to the house that Michael Jackson, Janet Jackson, all the Jackson 5. You can literally go to that house. Like, the one they grew up in.
So it's J-pop, but it's also like trap, but also like a weirdly terminally online version of it, but it's also like a little metal and alternative. There's so many layers of like
Andy Byron is the CEO of a company called Astronomer, and last night he took a woman to a Coldplay concert. Things didn't go quite as they planned. The ending will shock you, much like a Darman video here. Turns out, Andy Byron is a cheater with Coldplay fever. He brought his side chick to the concert, and they got put on the Jumbotron for, like, the kiss cam, or I guess, like, showing romance in the audience. And the way they reacted to it was so over the top, it was like they had, like, a red dot on them from a fucking sniper. So, like, Andy hits the deck, basically ragdolls himself. The girl turns around in shame, and they made it pretty clear something fishy was going on here.
Yeah. Oh, look at these two. All right, come on. You okay? Either they're having an affair or they're just very shy.
Lead singer of Coldplay was even surprised by that reaction. He even made a joke like, well, they might be having an affair or just very shy. Turns out it was the former there. They were indeed having an affair. That is Andy Byron, a married man. That woman is not his wife. That is his chief people officer at his company. Fucking HR. Her name is Kristen. And this is clearly not some kind of business function here. He is wrapped around her like a cloak, like Doctor Strange's cape. They were very clearly there on a romantic evening, a date, a little soiree. And when they got put on the Jumbotron, that was checkmate. Like a furry's nuts after seeing Chester Cheetah. They were busted. So the reaction made it clear something was awry. The internet did some digging. That's how they found out this is Andy Byron, and that woman is Kristen Cabot, or Cabot, something like that, the chief people officer. He is a married man. I don't know if she's also married, I'm not sure, but he 100% is married with a kid. His wife has 100% become aware of this unfaithfulness. As far as I know, she deactivated all of her socials, and it's looking like a real mess. That shit is so sad to see. That is just rough. My heart breaks for the family here. This despicable piece of shit is not only cheating on his wife, but he's cheating on his wife with his chief people officer, and doing it publicly
unashamed, at least unashamed until they got put on the Jumbotron, I suppose, just taking her to a Coldplay concert. Now, he might have got away with it too if it wasn't for those meddling, Scooby-Doo gang super sleuths out there, because their reaction to this was so extreme that everyone could catch a whiff, smell something a little stinky, so they did a little bit of research on it. Had these two just played it off as no big deal, like they were dating or together already, I doubt anyone would have known that this was an affair. They would probably still be fooling around, canoodling behind his wife's back. But because he, melted like Double D from the Ed, Edd n Eddy intro after they were on the Jumbotron, and she turned around and evacuated, then people were tipped off to what was actually happening here. Now, as far as I know, there hasn't been an official statement from Andy or Kristen. I have seen this floating around, but there's no actual source for this, no official source to verify whether or not this is authentic. To me, it seems like a load of fish paste. The first half could potentially be legitimate, it almost seems real, about how Andy is acknowledging, the disappointment and apologizing to his wife and family. But then the second half, I think it's very clearly just taking the piss. I also want to express how troubling it is that what should have been a private moment became public without my consent. I respect artists and entertainers, but I hope we can think more deeply about the impact of turning someone else's life into a spectacle. As a friend once sang,
"Don't cheat, and maybe that wouldn't happen."
Lights will guide you home and ignite your bones, and I will try to fix you, Andy. Those are Coldplay lyrics. I think it is meant to be a joke. I don't think this actually comes from Andy. I don't think this is Andy's statement or response to any of it. But I at least wanted to put it here because I see so many people talking about this being his actual statement, which I just don't think it is. And I can't find any source that claims that this is actually from him. So anyway, just wanted to talk about this a bit. This is one of the wackier ways I've seen someone be caught cheating on their wife. It's really about it. See ya.
Factor clearly gets active lifestyles. They're developed by dietitians and prepared by chefs, so they're actually good.
Today we're taking a look at a Diet Darman channel, which is something we haven't done in many, many moons. It has been years since the last time I even mentioned Darman and his cinematic universe. I don't know what's going on over there. Probably has already introduced the multiverse to it by now. Maybe he's got some new content up there like Man Makes Music, What Happens Next Will Shock You, and it's like the story of Charles Manson, except the lore's been retconned or something. I haven't tuned in a while. But one of his clone channels, Next Will Shock You, and it's Man in his cinematic universe. I don't know what's going on over there. Probably has already introduced the multiverse to it by now. Maybe he's got some new content up there like Man Makes Music, What Happens Next Will Shock You, and it's like the story of Charles Manson, except the lore's been retconned or something. I couldn't tell you. I haven't tuned in a while. But I did just learn that one of his clone channels, Samir Bhavnani, made a really interesting sponsored video. I learned about this from another YouTuber named August the Duck, and it is so silly. I just have to talk about it and show you.
Coach Conchi, that was an intense practice. You're gonna cry when I stick that full twist disc.
What? What?
Yeah. I don't cry, Lena. Maybe I'll finally make you.
Now, the title indicates that it's fully VO3 generated, which would lead you to believe that the whole thing is AI, but it's not. That claim is a load of dirty barnacles. Since it is a sponsored video, the whole thing is just to promote one really wacky item you're about to see. They clearly needed to have the item present, so they did have human beings, flesh, blood, and cringe here showing it off, and you can clearly see these are people acting, if you can call it acting. Now, I'm not going to get on my high horse as the star of the Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 1, but the point is, it's not all AI generative. It is so unhinged. It's amazing. Samir Bhavnani is like if Darman got a lobotomy and just continued to make the same content. It is like Darman videos through the eyes of someone unhinged. Like, this would be like if for Cheeky. Like, imagine for Cheeky, we made like a whole short...
There is Darman videos that are from someone who's unhinged. It's called Tomorrow's Teachings.
about like a guy who's so stinky that everyone around him dies. An angel comes down from heaven to bless him with a bar of cheeky soap. And not only does it clean him off, but it revives everyone who perished under his thumb of stink. Like, that kind of slaps. That goes ballistic. Also, Cheeky is having a huge 4th of July sale right now, so go to usecheeky.com and get yourself the best soap in the universe.
You okay?
Sore here, stiff
Whoa.
there, the usual. I think my joints are starting to retire before I do.
You should try this. I've been drinking it for a week. It's hydrogen-rich water. H2Gienseng hydrogen water bottle.
Isn't that just fancy water?
No, it's legit, Coach.
No, Coach, this is the real deal here. Check out this paper that has an alien UFO with the H2UN abducting it. That's why aliens come to Earth, to steal our H2UN. So the product itself is that classic snake oil of the hydrogen-infused water. I've seen a few of these pop up. Most of the time just drop-shipped Alibaba products. And it's all just mumbo-jumbo meant to prey upon the dumbest Neanderthals this planet has to offer. Who the fuck could hear hydrogen-infused water and think that it's something good? Water is already hydrogen. Adding extra hydrogen to it is not going to do much for you. There's no evidence to suggest it does. It's all just pseudoscience gobbledygook that some absolute brain-dead moron might hear and be like, wow, that is a game changer. I never thought to add hydrogen to water. That's like the whole pitch behind it, basically. If you have a thought deficiency, make sure you get the H2UN to fix it right up. It can work on anything, any ailment. There's no conclusion.
I gotta watch this one. This sounds interesting.
It's been a while since I've gone over diabolical texts, and today I've...
Oh, also, I got a job. I forgot to tell you.
Oh,
got a
really?
job. Yup.
Where?
I'm working at a bagel place.
Nice.
Well, I got to go, cutie patootie.
Alright.
I'll talk to you later.
Alright.